Media City Salford, just outside Manchester, is a place that's united by creativity, where some of the biggest broadcasters and production companies imagine, innovate and play. A place of rich culture and content for over a decade, it's now home to some of the world's most exciting tech and media brands, where they live, work and create, including BBC and BBC Sport. Hello, I'm Mark Pitsey. I'm the VizRT account manager for BBC Sport, and with me today is the creative director of BBC Sport, Mr. John Murphy. John and I have known each other a lot of years, and it's been a pleasure working with him over the years, watching the progress of the BBC Sport technology. And here we are at Media City, which is the host for the Winter Olympics coverage. You've been here about 11 years, John, at Media City now.
Absolutely, yes.
And of course, Virtual Studios is, I don't think it's anything new here. You've been using it a lot of years. And how do you think it's differed over the years? And especially last year, you did the Tokyo Summer Games. How does that compare to the Winter Olympics, which we're now seeing on television?
Yeah, thanks for the interview, Mark. It's good to be here and have a chat. So effectively, the difference between the Winter Olympics and to start off with and Tokyo is that actually we probably wouldn't have gone as big with this Winter Olympics if it wasn't for the success of Tokyo. However, there are obviously quite a lot of differences. Obviously the main difference is that Tokyo was done from our Doc 10 in Media City, who are obviously partners of ours, and we have a studio agreement with them. And this is from our own internal studio, which we launched in April, Green Screen Studio, which is only 84 meters squared in size. And also with that, it was designed by Jim Mann and Toby Kalatowski, as was the Tokyo set. But obviously this is more of an internal project, so we weren't relying on partners and everything else. So it was all, even though the design was done by Jim and Toby, which was great, it was Andy Bowker in our graphics department who did the implementation with Viz and the Unreal side of it. And I think the biggest thing for us with this is that actually, although we launched this Green Screen Studio in April, and we've done many a thing from there, which probably people haven't realised because the events weren't as big as the Winter Olympics. I think this is showing off now what a success story it's been for us. The fact was that space was a very kind of uncreative space which wasn't used very often. Now we've got this green screen area, and as you can see with some of the images behind us, we've created a kind of a sort of a winter ski resort wonderland with, you know, sort of 5, 6, 7 different presenting positions. So yeah, it's in that regard, it's been fantastic.
Okay, yeah, and also it's worth mentioning that although it's a VizRT virtual set, you're also using the Unreal render engine as a collaboration with VizRT and Unreal. So how important was it to use, get the best of both worlds, if you like, with both of those render platforms?
Yeah, I think so. Effectively, well, as you're fully aware, is that we've had Viz in-house as our kind of graphics system for many a year, and when we launched Prez 2, this studio back in April again, obviously because of our already Viz infrastructure that we have, it was a bit of a no-brainer that obviously we were going to keep with that. We've got the knowledge of Viz in-house. And everything that comes with it, and also, but the difference is obviously, as you say, the Unreal integration, because we'd already started down the Unreal side of things for our football work and everything else. So what we had to do was to take that sort of great sort of rendering platform that Unreal is and is continually developing, but also marrying it up with the knowledge we have in-house with Viz to do all of the control side of things and to actually, for using the Fusion Kia. Yeah. And there's still been a learning curve around it all, but I think, if we wouldn't have had that in-house knowledge of Viz in the first place, I think it would have been a lot more difficult at this stage to be where we are now.
Sure, yeah. I also believe you're using Viz Arc, something a little newer to BBC Sport. Is that a handy tool?
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, without me sort of sitting there in the operational mode for it. It's I know that the team have found it really useful. I think what it is that, you know, as I said again before, going back to it, is that the Unreal side of things in terms of the photorealism and everything else is fantastic, but it needs that studio broadcast control. So, you know, for live play out, so that, and again, it's familiarity. So VisArc is, I would say, a fairly new product, probably, for Viz with the integration. But again, it's got the familiarities of Viz as a platform, so that people that use it internally who know Viz have got that bit of knowledge. Even though there's obviously training that's been involved, and they've had to get to know it a bit more. But it's just, again, familiarity. So it's been, from what I've heard, it's, you know, and again, not in the cold face of doing the operation. It's been good feedback.
I mean, I know you've got a very, very experienced, very talented team. But I'm assuming that it's still not that easy to get this effect. It takes a lot of time and effort. So what were the main hurdles that you had to get over there? It wasn't an overnight kind of switch it on and it works. So
no.
What was the main goal?
No, so I think it's important probably to reiterate is that the actual footprint of the studio itself, as you can see there, of the inside studio, is the same as what we launched in April. It's the same architecture, everything else.
Yeah.
But what we didn't want to kind of just go back into one room and do a presentation. We wanted to kind of open it to the outside. So what we've done for the Winter Olympic is we've gone outside of the studio. And I would say that we certainly, when we started, we didn't think we were going to have 7 different presenting positions. It's a small space, 84 metres squared. You've only got one seating position with a desk, which is can go for a 1+3. And then you've literally got a side position where people can stand up. Now it's not even big enough for people really to kind of go and stand and walk to this position. It's got to be, we've got to go to those positions under VTs or under live action. But to the viewer, you know,
that's
at
the main
home,
thing.
it's like, you know, they're inside by a fire at one point, and then obviously when they come back, they're outside kind of with their gilets on. And
it's all about the viewer's experience, because it looks huge. So to have that kind of scale, it's amazing. So I think because some people have said to me, it must be a huge studio they're using. I think it's not. And that's the beauty of the technology, of the software, to kind of give that like large scale effect.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's little things as well which we brought into it, which are, you know, we've got one position which is almost, you know, quite a distance out from the studio, and it's a bench, and you know, they're essentially they're sitting on 3 green cubes, you know, and again, that wasn't something that we were gonna. That was meant to be just kind of an initial maybe opening shot, which we just kind of, you know, to look, but again, because it looks so great in the background, we decided to use it as another presenting position essentially. So, you know, it's all little tricks of the trade that you can use to make it look bigger. You know, we've done things like the Masters golf highlights. We've done things like Australian Open tennis. You know, we have a daily iPlayer show, which is a football news show, which is just a kind of a small 15-minute hit, which is recorded. But again, it's showing that's being used every day. And then also, you know, we were able to do kind of some one-off programs from both the Euros and Tokyo when we weren't able to be in the studios, but you know, the main studio. So it's been fantastic in that sense.
Well, that's going to lead me on to my next question. Can you tell us what's happening next?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, without being able to say kind of absolute names of events that we might do from there, because things are still up in the air. You know, we still haven't made absolute decisions, but I can assure you that because of what we've done in there now, the production teams just want to go in there and want to work in there. So we've got events, things like, we've got things like coming up Rugby League World Cup, and we've got things like possibly like World Cup draw before Qatar, and all of this. There's various and even more events than that. I would say we're not always going to be able to put the effort and the time that we've done into the Winter Olympics. But for example, when we've done things like our Australian Open tennis, which was kind of a late call to go in there, well, we just went and got a panoramic shot of Melbourne and put it as the backdrop, and that's kind of, it just gives you that sense of almost being there. So that's the beauty of it, really.
Okay, that's fantastic. I mean, congratulations on the success of how the sets look. It's a great look, of course. Thanks again for talking to us today, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
No, thanks Mark. Thank you.